Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Service Writers Anonymous. As always, I am your host, Amy, with my beautiful co host, Miss Brooke, back this week.
I'm so sorry. Hello.
We'll forgive you this time.
It won't happen again. I can tell you that much. So we're going to be fine.
So this week, let's start off with an update. You have some new experiences to share with us.
Sorry. I meant to keep that in. Yeah.
So after leaving the used car dealership, you ended up with a body shop.
That I did. And, okay. What I'm going to start with, I had to go to the body shop because the other position to stay being a service advisor just weren't open yet in the town that I moved to. So, this body shop, I'm doing more of the background stuff. I'm doing detailing and buffing and decals and that kind of stuff, which has been awesome. I will tell you, learning the decals, nobody's touching my truck again. Nobody's touching my truck again. I have 3 new stickers that I get to put on myself. Girl, it's about to go down. So I'm pumped about that. However, it was interesting to go from being in the front line with customers, working with people in the back and having respect for the people in the back for what they do, and being somewhere where they don't have that respect. The people in the back are peasants. They are treated as such. They don't really care too much about you, it feels like. For instance, when any of the techs would come to us, good morning, how you doing? We'd walk through the shop, see how everybody's doing. We'd check on them, see what they need. Not that they're children, but because I care.
Right. If I can help you, if I can provide something to you to make your job easier, then you can get my customers out faster.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. So to be in an atmosphere where it's not like that at all. I don't know if it's just because I'm too optimistic, or maybe I'm just Delulu. One of the two is my issue. Because I always look for the best in people. And so it's easier to find things that you hate about somebody than things you like. So I always strive to find the things I like about somebody so we can get through the day. Now, there's something I can't quite tell you guys yet, but that play into some of the things that I've been dealing with at the body shop, but we're going to get there and I'll let you know soon. So I think maybe entitled would be a good word. They don't treat the back end very well. There is no good mornings. There is no, how you doing? How was your weekend? Is there anything we could be doing as management to be making things easier? Do you guys need better cleaning supplies? Do you need more scuff pads? Like, that isn't a conversation. The nicest they are to me is when they come back asking how to use the machine that's been there for 20 years. But that's besides me. And the line that it goes through, right? It goes through a technician. There's a body technician there that takes everything apart and put it back together. They are great. The technicians, as always, I get along with them great because I respect them and they respect me. The painters are really nice to me. They don't like the other kid that I work with very much for issues I've told you about, but I think that maybe they're under too much pressure to get as much done. And so when it comes to us and we're doing the detailing and the buffing, there's usually a lot more buffing and sanding that we have to do to fix the panels before they can actually go out. So just watching, I don't know how to explain that. Just watching, for instance, in our normal area, if a guy does a job and it's still leaking oil, it's still leaking coolant, there's a problem that may be small, but it still has to be addressed because it's going to become a bigger issue.
Yeah.
It goes back to them and they fix it.
Correct.
So that they learn their lesson, right? They have to learn from every mistake. I have to learn from mistakes.
Right. Well, yeah, you already, as far as like a technician in a mechanical repair facility, if you make a mistake, like you fix it because you already got paid for that job.
Exactly. And so I guess maybe I haven't been in the business long enough to understand that maybe painters aren't in the same realm, that if they get something painted and they've been paid for it, they aren't liable to make sure that it actually is in the correct order, and I'm not saying, okay, let me back up a little bit. I'm not saying that it should be 100% spotless and perfect. Things happen. There's dust in the air. There's pollutants in the air. All kinds of stuff that could get sucked into that paint. Sure, get it. But when it's every panel in multiple spots, that seems excessive. That seems a little much for me.
See, now I kind of wish that my husband had hung out, because, like, having an actual painter with 10 years of experience weighing in on this, we were kind of talking about before we started recording, and he did say that, a couple of pieces of dust here and there is pretty typical, and, like, having a detailer buff that out, I guess, is normal, which did surprise me. Like, the shop that he worked in our old town, he was in the same shop under 3 different owners. And the first owner, little mom and pop shop, he built it from nothing, ran it till he retired, and sold it on to a small chain. I think that owner had like 7. I think that was the 7th store he purchased, or he ran. Cool. Yeah. Then it was purchased by a much larger company, and that was a total shit show.
It usually happens. That's how it happens.
But he took so much pride in his work, like, I can't imagine him passing on work to someone else to do. But they also, for many years, never had a detailer that did it. So when it was the little mom and pop shop, they were more of like combo guys.
Oh, okay.
So each technician got a car and worked it start to finish.
Oh, wow.
So they did their own body work, they did their own paint, blah, blah, blah. It was when the little chain took over that he really got the title paint tech.
Okay.
Because the other 2 body guys were both older and didn't want to deal with the chemicals in the paint anymore. And he was like, I'm young, I'll deal with it.
I can understand that. Paint is stinky.
Yeah, and I mean...
It smells like nail polish remover.
Yeah, that was right about the time where the EPA required the changeover from solvent-based paint to water-based paint.
Oh, okay.
So I guess that would be a question for him too, whether the waterborne paint was less harsh on your body or not.
Hard on your body.
I do remember him talking about the solvent-based paints back in the day, like when he first took on that role as painter. John had told him, like, I only paint in the morning because the chemicals in the paint keep me awake. If I paint in the afternoon, I can't go to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Like, how wild is that?
Is there cocaine in it? Jesus. Oh my god. It's an upper, not a downer.
Yeah. Yeah, like, he just takes so much pride in his work. That's why he couldn't work with the hack shop that he was with when we first moved here. When we first moved here, he worked with a place that did a ton of used car lot stuff.
Oh.
So, just make it look shiny, as cheap and dirty as we can do.
Yep.
And yeah, he just couldn't hack that. He was like, I cannot half-ass this stuff. Like,
my name's on that.
Yeah. Like, this is my work. This is my reputation. And I'm not going to put out a half-assed shitty product.
Absolutely. And I will say, now, the painters that I work with, they are really great people. It's a male and a female, and they are so nice. They are really cool. And you can tell they do care about their work, and maybe they've just done it for such an amount of time that they're done with it. Like, they've even told me, I hate buffing, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, they're just waiting for somebody to come along and buy it.
That's what it seems like. Is it's more like, I do what I can to get by and I'll get the job done, but you're gonna have to fix some stuff. And I mean, they're not mean by any means, but I do think they have pride in what they do, because they obviously like what they do for a reason, right? They're painters. It took them a while to get to that point to be able to be a painter. The girl that I had replaced starting there, she moved stores because she wasn't moving up. She had been there for 2 years. She wanted to be a painter. She learned everything else in the business and just wanted to get to painting, and they never gave her that shot. So she just was like, fine, I'm going to go do tint and clear bra, and she's a little spitfire, and that's what she does now. She's great. Nice. She's like 18.
Good for her.
She's legit. She's a cool little lady. She texts me all the time still just to check on me, see how things are going. And If she would have stayed, I think maybe things would have been better. But I think because she left, things are just kind of in shambles because things aren't being done the way that they normally are done.
Yeah. And they're just expecting you to know all of the extra stuff that she did.
And I'm like, Brother Bear, I told you when I started, I buffed with one solution in detail before, and it was on a rag, okay? We put a little bit of buffing solution on a rag and just smeared it on a chip if there was a chip. That's my experience I had into it. Which is an experience. Like, I just knew how to rub a rag on it.
Yeah, like, you were a detailer. You were not a paint fixer.
So, and that's how I explained it to them when I started, was I detail. I can detail in my sleep. I love to make things clean, especially a vehicle. Think we've understood. I'm obsessed with my vehicle, and it has to stay clean. Has to stay clean, or else I have issues just wanting to drive it. I'm dramatic. I'll admit it. I know what it is. However, I also take pride in my vehicle because I work for that vehicle. It's my dream vehicle.
Yeah.
And
sorry. Side note. So
excited.
I don't know what really brought that up, but the first detailer they had with the second owner.
Oh yeah.
That was the one that dropped the grease on my husband's toolbox.
No way, really?
Yeah, so when the third company bought out that shop again, he left because he didn't want to be part of a big corporation. You know where he ended up?
A big corporation?
Safeway. He worked for Safeway in the next town. I don't want to work for a big corporation.
Brother, do you realize Safeway is a big corporation? Whatever. I digress. So,
a lot bigger than that body shop chain.
When I had explained that to them, I detail. I love to detail. I'm very, very detailed in what I do. I find the stuff that people look at because I know what I look at. Yeah. I think where I come from is I know how I am as a customer. So I know what I look at when I get in a vehicle. Going from the mechanical side, if I go in for an oil change, I'm looking for my sticker. I'm looking to make sure you reset my maintenance indicator. If you put oil in my vehicle, I'm going to come in hot. Hot. Like, in the inside. That's what I mean. You obviously put it in the freaking motor.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we understood that, but the way I said it was a little weird. So, if I have any issues, I come in quick. And usually not in a great mood because I expected something. You told me you could do that, no problem, and you failed. Do you fail putting on your shoes? Do you fail wiping your butt? No, you don't. Well, you might, but you're going to have some sort of consequence for that.
Yeah.
So when I am detailing a car, that's what I'm doing. Thinking about, well, is Suzanne going to come in and be like, you guys didn't wipe my mirrors. Or, you guys didn't do my rearview mirror. The cracks behind my dash are dirty. I think of that. So that's how I was hired. Apparently what they wanted me to do was quick skips. Just like quickly wipe off dust, vacuum, make it look better, but don't spend too much time on it. And if you want to, just the driver area.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, you're not... Your experience is coming from a place of, like, what people would be paying $200, $300 plus dollars for. Not something that's just, like, a bonus service.
And that's what I didn't understand, I think. And maybe it wasn't explained enough because they were like, detail, like, we need a detailer. Like, somebody that's going to be able to find attention to detail.
Yeah.
Like, are you detail-oriented? Like, the way they explained it.
Yeah, that's a really poor title to give someone in a body shop because they're not, I mean, your customers are not paying for a detail. If you want a detail like she's talking about, or you get in all those nooks and crannies, like, you're gonna pay out the nose for it.
And when I was a detailer, I was at a dealership being a detailer, so every used car that came in, new car that came in, we had to make them spotless and look brand new. So that's what I'm used to. And I should have asked more questions. Like, what do you mean by this? But I was excited.
When you told me detail it, like, that was my first thought, was what I did for the RTA. Like,
I was so pumped, to be honest with you, because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I told them about a pumice stone. And they were like, a pumice stone? What is that? And I was like, it's a stone that helps you remove dog hair. It makes it rip it right out. And they were so excited.
Soften up your feet.
They went and bought me a couple of pumice stones at the shop so that I'd have them, but then told me I couldn't spend that much time on it. And I was like,
my math isn't mathing.
what am I doing here? And it's disorganized. There's not a flow. So like they give you a sheet, it's called an out sheet, where it's listing off vehicles that need to be done at certain times, but then they have highlighted State Farm. So if State Farms are highlighted, it doesn't matter the time these vehicles are scheduled to go out, you get the State Farm ones done. So let's say I have at 10 a.m. it needs to leave. And then you have at 2 o'clock you have another one. At 4 o'clock you have another one. But then you have State Farm that aren't supposed to go out till the next day. We need to get those ones done. No. I'm sorry. Wait, what? And it's because they make more money for the shop. State Farm pays more. Which, cool, I guess, but don't give me an out sheet. If you're just going to rip me off of jobs. Which they did tell me, like, can you be flexible with, like, getting pulled off of things? Yeah, absolutely I can. I didn't know that meant I can't finish anything. I can't start and finish anything. I have to kind of quickly do something on it, pull it out, do something else, pull it back in. I can't do that. I found out I can't do that. Nope. Not me, not I. It was one thing where I thought they just meant like going to run parts, going to drop off vehicles other places. Those were the examples they gave me.
Yeah, let me
not that I was going to get a vehicle in, start working on it, and then find out, oh, don't worry about this one. We need the State Farm one done. Then why does this one say it needs to be out by 10? It doesn't matter. Just get this one done. Then don't give me the sheet.
You're right. Just give me a key.
Yeah, just tell me, get this done. Get this done. Oh, you don't want to have to micromanage? That isn't micromanaging. That is telling me what you need done that day so you're not stressing out, so you leave me the hell alone. But I digress. So I will hopefully be getting back into service advising come end of April, May. Beginning of May, somewhere around there. Which, happy to go back to that. Because, nope.
I'm just so concerned that this does not sound like a better situation.
It doesn't. Okay, to be honest with you, it doesn't. For instance, I had 5 interviews with this repair facility. 5. Okay? Never in my days since I started working at 14 years old. I am 24. So in the last 10 years I have worked. I've never had 5 interviews. And it was with the service manager, the GM of like it all, and then it was back with the service manager, and then the last 2 were to meet the other advisor, and then meet with the advisor and the service manager again was the last one. Girl, why? Can we just sit down and have a pep talk? Like, what is happening?
Like, so, I maybe understand the regional manager wanting a second interview after the GM has made their short list or vice versa, but, like, why do you have to keep going again?
No, and it was weird. And I mean...
Two max.
I was just trying to get out of this body shop. I just needed to get out of this body shop. And so I went and I did what I needed to do. And on that 5th interview is when they told me they wouldn't even be able to start me until end of April, beginning of May, because they hired a service advisor that has 0 experience whatsoever. What? Again, choices of a service manager, never will understand. But I'm not a manager, so it is what it is. Yeah, it's weird. Alright, y'all, I just want to win the lottery. I'm done.
Seriously.
It would be so much nicer. Or open my own shop. I would enjoy that for sure. But I don't know that I would want to be the manager. Not because I can't deal with people. I can deal with people. It's just... I will say I can understand in a manager's sense, having employees that you can rely on, having employees that you can trust, that doesn't come around easily. Yeah. People suck nowadays. And that's across the board. I mean, you working at a place or you being a customer. People suck, man, sometimes. And if you don't have customer service, you cannot be at the desk.
Seriously.
Or you should not. You should not be at the desk.
The kid that replaced you. Oh my goodness. He's so shy. He's so soft-spoken. We actually had an elderly man come in and was like, this poor kid's trying to talk to him, and this old man's like, I can't hear you. And he just gets quieter and quieter.
Because he's like freaking out, I'm sure.
I'm just like, Okay, sir, let me help you.
Let me speak up like an adult.
Come
Hold on,
over
come here.
here and let me help you, because that one's rabbiting in a hole right now. Come here.
This is what we call peacocking. Or ostriching. Ostriching. That's the bird that sticks his head in the ground. When he gets paranoid. Something comes after you. Head in the ground. That's what we should call people like that. Ostriches.
Ostrich.
So we're not allowed to really detail, right? So if they have a bunch of stuff in the back seat, we don't touch the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a bunch of stuff in the rear hatch, we don't mess with it. In the bed, same thing. Even in the passenger seat, I've had... First off, okay, people, clean your car.
Seriously, if you were taking your car in, it's like, do you not kind of pick up your house when you bring guests into your house? Like, you're letting guests into your vehicle and you take it into a repair facility.
So when you have like an inch of just like food crumbs and black tar from your drink that's been spilled all over your shifter to where it sticks and you have to slam it because it sticks, brother bear, put some WD-40 in there or something. Like, clean it. Do something. Clean it. And it's not even just that. That I can deal with. I guess I can clean that.
And no, your technicians are judging you.
100%. They will come and get me and say, why didn't you warn me about this? Actually, I told you, be careful when I told you to get in that car. You just didn't know what I meant. And I worry about telling technicians sometimes about it because sometimes they won't pull in your vehicle. I have to call you and tell you, you need to come in with a trash bag and take out their things. So if you have Taco Bell, Wendy's, KFC, Little Caesars in the passenger seat that levels from the top of the dash up over the headrest of that car into the back seat of a Subaru. I'm talking about somebody specific. The whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, I puked 7 times. With my head out the window of that vehicle because I could not pull it around. And I didn't pull it that far. I didn't have to drive it that far. I couldn't. I refuse. I'm not touching that vehicle. That is disgusting. And it wasn't even an appointment. It was a walk-in customer. So I guess, okay, where I'm coming from is if you have a bunch of food, if you have a bunch of just nasty trash, your underwear, nobody wants to see your G-string hanging from your rearview mirror, okay? Stop representing that way. I don't care if you're a stripper, but calm down. Calm down. I don't want to see it. If there is a you know what anywhere, gross. You're gross. And I'm not working on your car. I'm not going to pull it in. I'm not going to make my technician do it. What is wrong with you people sometimes? I know I feel bad if I have my dog bowls or bones in my backseat because my dog's right in my backseat with me, if I don't get those cleaned out. Not that anybody's working in the backseat of my truck for an oil change. I worry about it, and I try to make sure I pick it up. I'll actually keep it with me wherever I'm sitting. Because you don't need to deal with it. If it's in your way, I'd rather just make sure it's not. I have a wheel lock key for my rims so they don't get stolen. I make sure it's sitting out for my technician. Because if you don't want somebody to have to rummage through your center console in your
glove box,
then put it out for them so that they can get their job done. You don't have to wait longer than is necessary, and everybody's happy. And guess what? Your wheel lock key will be back where you left it. And if it's not, it's because, well, they were trying to hurry up because you were yelling. That's 100% normally what happens.
I don't know if I've told this story before. I apologize if I have. At my first shop, the head tech had some stories. Our shop foreman was a character. So, in the vein of watch what you're leaving in your car, I don't know exactly why they had to get into the trunk.
Oh no!
Probably looking for the wheel lock key. Honestly, probably that's what they were doing. By the spare tire. Opened up the trunk, and this girl had a suitcase.
I think you told me this story. We haven't put it on here.
This girl had a suitcase that was open in the trunk. It's not like they were rummaging through it. It was filled to the brim with condoms and Plan B and other toys. And my dad tech just goes, "Oh, I can party with this girl."
I love it. Oh God, I did have a car that came in. Her car was actually very, very clean, but she had anime stickers. It was at our job that we worked at together. Anime stickers all over her Honda. She has them on the front. She's like on the outside of the car and all on the brow strip of the windshield. They're covered. And they're not just like swords and like, fighting anime. No, they're like big booby, like coochie out, like everywhere. And so our shop foreman came and got me and said, Brooke, did you see the windshield? And I said, I was looking at the windshield. I was looking on the inside.
Right, I
look
just
at the
got the
windshield when I'm
odometer.
out, just make sure it's not cracked. But I just grabbed the odometer and I'm out. So he makes me go out there. And I've got the shop foreman and the tech right next to him just cheesing. Just cheesing. He says, I'll work on this car anytime you need. Of course you will. Of course you will. You dirty little dogs. So, I love personality in your vehicle. I love it. We talk about that a lot. Personality is not being a filthy little thing, okay? And I'm not talking about your anime stickers, and I'm not talking about your suitcase. I'm talking about,
dirt.
Your suitcase should be closed, first off. I'm talking about your trash.
We're talking about your dirt and your trash and your grossness and your fast food wrappers and your french fries between the seats.
Or use condoms stuck by the seatbelt. Gross, dude. Gross. That has happened. That has 100% happened. Or if you just went meat shopping and you forgot, get your vehicle towed in and leave it in the parking lot on 102 weekend. No, we will make you come and get it. You will clean it. The windows will be down for the whole day. And then we will put a chemical bomb in your car, roll up the windows, leave it for another day, and then let it air out for another day. So now you have to wait 3 extra days before anybody's going to touch your vehicle. Because there ain't a technician in the world that's going to pull in a vehicle like that and have to work on it. I mean, that's ridiculous.
With the one exception of wildlife dying inside the innards of the vehicle, that's not really something you're able to take care of.
Right, that's a little different. So, if you hit a deer and you're at a body shop, we do have to remove the stomach or whatever gets stuck in the front end of the car or wherever it is.
The mice in the blower motor is a big one.
Oh, God. Or dead birds.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's something you can't really control, right?
My ex one time had a bat. And he had a ranch hand with the mesh.
Oh no.
No, he didn't take it off. It just disintegrated into the mesh. It was so bad.
Brother bear, why? Oh my God, wash it. Just spray it on. Ugh. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I've talked about it on the last podcast that we had. I watch crime shows, right? So that gory stuff doesn't bother me too much. However,
the smell.
It's your funk. Your people funk.
Your people.
I can't handle it, okay? Put an air freshener in that. God. I can't. And I'm not being rude. We all smell. Don't get me wrong. But, put an air freshener in there.
Actually, so the friend that we went to Utah with this morning, he was telling us about his coworker that was trying to convince him that soap was a scam.
No, God. Oh, my God. It reminds me of the girl that used just Stone for deodorant in high school. Now, granted, that was part of her religion, and I'm not knocking it, but girl, you suck. But, if you want us to work on your car, put an air freshener in there and remove your trash. And your used condoms. Yeah. And meat. Or kitty litter. That's been there a few times, kitty litter.
Yeah.
A used kitty litter box in the back seat for whatever reason. You're just chilling with your cat.
Yeah, at Toyota, one of our porters was allergic to cats, so
oh no.
it was a shockingly common thing that people would just come by and ask for a car wash with a cat in their car.
Yeah. And not say anything.
Well, most of the time they did.
Oh, okay.
Just because, I don't know if they knew that, we had one person that was allergic to cats and, could not get in your vehicle and sit in it with a cat in it. Or if they were just, we know that cats are a common allergy. But, yeah, no, they did generally let us know. They did generally let us know. And the one lady, I remember specifically, because he came up to me and he was like, I can't find anybody else. Can you wash this car for me? Because it's got a cat in it. And I was like, no problem.
There's a demon in there.
I go take it to the car wash. This cat never made a noise. If he hadn't said something to me, I'd have never known there was a cat in there.
See, that's terrifying. Okay, I'm deadly afraid of cats.
Oh my god.
Fun fact about Brooke. Deadly afraid of cats. It started at a young age, okay? I'll probably tell you guys that story one day. Remind me. But I don't know that we have time today for that because it was a traumatic event. I was 8. So I can't. I'm not allergic to cats. They don't bother me. The smell of them. I mean, I don't like their kitty boxes.
Yeah.
My grandma was a crazy cat lady, which also helped with my fear of them. But anyways, I have had people come in with their cats.
You watched that episode of Criminal Minds.
Which one?
The old cat lady that the little girl, like, murdered because she wouldn't let them have one of her cats.
Oh, I have not seen that.
Apparently you did not see that. Oh, it was CSI, not Criminal Minds. Anyway, really old crime shows. Don't mind me.
God, I'm gonna have to rewatch that. I don't remember that episode at all. No, my grandma really was a crazy cat lady. She had four of them for sure that I can remember anyways. They were mean. Mean? And she's like, they're so sweet. No, they're not, okay? I really think cats came from hell. I really think cats are Satan. I have never really met a nice cat. My sister has one named Sassafras. And she's okay. Her and I respect each other from a distance. She's like a long hair that drools when she's happy.
Oh my god.
And I do love that. I will say, okay, I have always really liked her, but again, from a distance. Like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm a dog lady through and through. But should we get to the next topic before we continue with cats? End of that conversation. We are going to say to end that. Just clean up your car. Remember that
we will judge you.
We
will judge you.
Technicians will usually remember your vehicle, not your name. Your advisors will remember your name and your vehicle most of the time. Or we're going to give you nicknames. You don't want that. You do not want that. If you have a nickname at a shop or they recognize you and you have a grin that they give you, or like the panic look, know what you've done. Know what you have done. And we have judged you. Let's get into off-roading.
So I did want to bring up off-roading because in a few weeks here, I am going to be in Moab for Easter Jeep Safari. So keep an eye out for the pretty blue Toyota because it'll be the coolest truck out there.
The whole thing is custom.
No, my husband built that truck from absolute scratch. Like,
it is sweet. Like, I talk about things being cool, and I'm not just fluffing anybody's horn, but that thing is really freaking cool. And you can tell how much love and hard work has went into it.
Yeah.
From both of you guys.
Yeah, he started with just totally stone stock 86 Toyota pickup. I think the only thing left Toyota on it is the sheet metal and frame.
Yeah. And even at that, the frame looks mainly like redone.
Painted. It was at least painted.
Oh.
But yeah, LS motor, turbo 400, Chevy 14 bolt in the rear, Dana Super 60 in the front, Super Duty Super 60. I want to say Chevy transfer case. I know there is also a Ford transfer case sitting in the garage waiting for the doubler adapter that we haven't had time to put in yet. Total custom paint job and the hood. The hood was the coolest part.
Oh god, it's so cool. Maybe because you've posted pictures of it, right?
I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have posted anything to the Service Writers Anonymous page about it.
We might post. Well, we definitely should post that truck, but I think we should post all of like our fun like little shit.
Yeah.
You know what? We might invite you a little bit into our life.
Yeah, really looking forward to being back in Moab again. Really looking forward to showing off that truck.
Oh, I bet.
Because
you guys are gonna get so many compliments.
Like even with the old truck, you know, we used to have a black square body. Anybody that is big into the off-roading scene has been around Moab during Easter or October. You've probably seen that truck in Moab. And it lives there now. The guy that we sold it to actually lives in Moab.
Oh, wow.
But that truck, everywhere we went, that thing turned heads. Mm-hmm. And even the Toyota, before last year he had built the drive line, the whole, he's got all the motor and all that in, so we were wheeling it on the 40s last spring, but we hadn't done any of the body work yet.
Okay.
So it didn't have the roll cage, didn't have the bed, still the cream paint and rust, cream paint
All
and
of
rusty
the
bed.
personality, right?
Yeah. So even then, like, it was turning heads. He drove it to work after he got everything reassembled, after he did all the body work, and I made him swing by the shop or the other advisor we worked with could see it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, just the brake line was like the one specific thing that really got his attention. He was like, the care and effort that was put into this, like, there's a high quality material. He's got rubber bushings protecting it so it doesn't get rubbed through anywhere. Like, this is some serious attention. Like, everything on this truck was done at such a overbuilt level.
Mm-hmm.
I think we still have to figure out some, like, cooling issues, which was why he did the cutout in the hood.
Okay.
So you could get more airflow. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And if anybody sees me out in Moab, you recognize me, please stop me. I'd love to hear from you.
Yes. I would definitely like for people to talk to us more. Like, let us know if you want to hear about something, if you have questions about something. If you ever hear us say something that you don't quite understand, let a bitch know, okay? Because that's the whole point of what we're doing, is just wanting to better explain the industry, and not even just the industry, but the really cool and exciting stuff about it.
Yeah.
Like the custom builds.
The only place I have not been able to figure out how to see if anybody's left comments is iHeartRadio. So, like, if you're listening on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, like, feel free to leave us comments there.
Absolutely.
Watch us on YouTube, TikTok, all
Facebook,
that.
whatever.
DM us on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
I may not check it every day, but I'll check it eventually.
We'll at least check it once a week. Like, I can give you that. And then if you guys can start leaving really funny comments, really insightful stuff, we're going to make little reels and episodes about them and talk to you guys, because we appreciate you. We appreciate that you listen, and we appreciate that you're here, because we're just having fun.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to the off-roading thing and the off-roading side, and custom builds, that is so exciting to talk about. Now, me on my side, I haven't done too much of my vehicle's a pavement princess. So I'm a little bit on the opposite side. My vehicle isn't lifted all crazy, it's leveled, and that's enough for me. I want us to kind of start talking more about maybe both off-roading side, custom build as far as like lifted, jacked up, like Cena trucks kind of stuff, as well as Moab, Jeep Safari and that kind of thing. But I also want to talk about lowriders and street princesses, pavement princesses. I'm a little bit more insightful on the pavement princesses side than I am the off-roading side. However, my partner, he's got lifted race trucks. His Old Blue is what we call it. He has 4 turbos in that truck.
Oh my God.
There's 2 sets of compounds on that thing. Custom piping. He welded it all. He's done it all. We're actually currently working on removing the bed, redoing the frame. He's going to make it a dually. He already started this truck as a second gen Dodge Ram. No, at that time it was a Dodge Ram, because it's a mashup from like a 98 to a 2001, because he had rolled the truck in high school with his best friend. So he had to redo the whole truck. It was green. Ew. Thank God he painted it blue, because it's beautiful. He had done new bed on it, new everything on it. And, well, that was when he was in high school. He's 26 now.
Yeah.
So that was a while ago. So the truck needs some stuff. The motor has 600,000 plus miles on it. Like, the odometer stopped clicking. So we're just guessing at this point. It stopped at 500 and something.
Yeah.
Which is so fun. So we're going to work on, not that it needs it. It does. I do want to put a new motor in it, just because I want him to have something fresh to start with when he does all the other stuff. But he had made it was a gasser originally. He diesel swapped it. He manually swapped it, so it was an automatic. He put a manual in it. Big old stick like a semi-truck in it. And it's a sweet truck. It's very loud, which is hilarious because he's so quiet. My spouse is so quiet. He's soft-spoken, but everything he owns cannot be quiet. So his new truck he hates it. Absolutely hates it. It's a stock 2022 Ram. Hates it. Hates it. His buddy pulled up to him. His buddy pulled up to him while we were on the road and said, "This isn't something you drive. Why is it so quiet? I can hear you over it." He said, yeah, I'm not keeping this one." And I said, "Oh, here we go." And even his Harley was too quiet. It was a Harley. So he took the muffler or something off of it, and I was in the house that was a bedroom, a kitchen, and then I was in the living room. So that's how far away I was from him. I heard him start it from in there, and it rumbled my pictures on the wall. Oh, it was so funny. It made him happy, so whatever. But
yeah.
With Old Blue, he does plan to, like I said, make it a dually, put a flatbed on it, redo the motor. He already has the motor parts, which is really exciting. He was really pumped about that. And then we're going to redo all the piping and all that kind of stuff for him. And he's already put a 6-speed transmission from a 4-speed, shortened the drive shaft and everything so it would fit. And the truck's freaking quick. It's a quick truck.
No. My husband wasn't super into the loud. Like with the black truck with the old crew cab, he did originally put glass packs on it. Mm-hmm. And he drove like that for a few years, but yeah, eventually he was like, "Yeah, this thing needs real mufflers."
It's actually a little too loud. Yeah, no, Clay's
his white truck he wants to get real mufflers for because that truck had glass backs on it when he bought it.
That's hilarious.
If it's parked in his driveway, I can
like
hear it
subs and all kinds of stuff inside, so he can hear his music over the truck. So he's happy. He's content. My quiet little person is in the loudest fucking vehicle on the road. And it's so, the irony of it just is my favorite.
Yeah.
He's just the quietest in all friend groups and everywhere that he is, at work, anywhere. But he has the loudest vehicles.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying it's like nasty loud, like gross loud, but I mean, we almost got a ticket in the sound ordinance towns.
If you need subwoofers just to hear your music over the exhaust, it's probably too loud.
You know.
That was never my thing either.
I like loud for my music.
Yeah.
So my bass has to be there.
My ex had an old Duramax that it was basically straight piped, and yeah, it was outrageous. Like you literally could not ride down the road and have a conversation without shouting at each other, and I'm like, I'm over this.
Yeah, there's no conversations in Old Blue, that's for sure. That's a ride and enjoy the scenery. Unless we're in a drive-through and he shuts it off. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Has to shut it off in a drive-through. But honestly, we do that in the 22 Ram too.
Yeah, I was gonna say
just
any clattery motor is impossible.
The only one we don't have to is mine because it's an EcoBoost. The most you hear is the turbos when I go forward.
Yeah.
And it's a little meow. And I love it. I'm okay with my baby turbos. I don't need it to go any faster. I'm a grandma. I talked about it last weekend. I like to knit and stay home. Guess what? I also like to drive that way. Minus my music. My music makes me sound like a 12, 14-year-old that just got a car and immediately put subwoofers in it. Absolutely, that's me. But the rest of the vehicle's quiet. If there's a bolt somewhere, I'll pull over and find that bolt. I can't handle the noise. The only noise I want is from my music. So if my speakers even start to make a crackle, I'll replace them.
Yeah.
I'm a psycho. I don't do that well. But I mean, I gotta drive in it every day. It's gonna be what I need to be.
Yeah.
Which is a princess.
One thing with we've touched in the past on there's a real difference between a built vehicle and a lifted vehicle. Like you can buy a JK and bolt on every part in the world. And I think that there's something real to be said about building your truck, driving your truck as you're building it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I know my husband really wants to conquer Pritchett with this truck because we were going to try to do it last year, and that was when the cooling problems really started to bear their head. Because he bought a radiator and fan assembly. That was, I think it was a 3 or 4 core radiator, like a really high quality radiator. And it was supposed to have a fan rated for whatever CFM. And so we're trying to find another just electric fan in town. Just another generic electric fan. The only one we could find was at Napa. And it had the same CFM rating. So at first he was like, I don't know if this is going to do me any good. And then he actually like hooked it up to some power, and this thing tried to take off the table. Whereas the other fan, like with full power, was like spinning, but it wasn't lifting itself off the table. So we're like, okay, cool. So we put that fan in, and I think we ended up still wheeling with the hood off the rest of the time, the rest of the week. But
just to be safe.
Yeah. And I mean, we still, after that, had some issues with like the fuel pump getting heat soaked, and like this is the little stuff that pops its head up, and that's another reason why I say drive it while you're building it.
Yeah. So you can learn that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and you figure out what works and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. Plenty of guys will put LSs in their Jeeps, and like an LS swap, in theory, is simple to do, but it's a ton of man hours and hard work. So I'm sure just as many JKs and Toyotas and everything else that end up with LS motors, I'm sure that just as many actually make it to the road are still sitting in somebody's garage because they got frustrated and couldn't finish it.
Oh, yeah. And so kind of going back to what you were saying about the difference between like a lifted truck and a built truck, a lifted truck is a lifted truck. You buy, I see it all the time, used car lots buy newer vehicles, newer trucks, and they immediately put 3 to 6 inch lifts on these trucks, big old meaty tires, rims, spacers. That's just a lifted truck.
Yeah.
That's what it is. For us,
well, and like a lot of people that do buy just lifted stuff from a used car lot, like they're out there figuring out that that's not, that was not capable.
No.
It might have clearance, but that does not necessarily equate to capability, especially on like an independent front suspension. Like there's a reason, they call them SAS on YouTube. Like there's a reason a solid axle swap is like a huge thing. And it's because you eliminate the CV joints. You eliminate the CV axles, which is a huge point of failure off-road.
Yeah.
And like axle shafts are a huge point of failure off-road. JKs are real notorious. If you put like anything bigger than a 37 on a JK with stock axle shafts, snap every time.
It's a crazy world. There's a lot to it.
And there's plenty of trails in Moab that you can do with a fully stock vehicle.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and if you're not sure which ones they are, just swing by one of the Jeep rental places and ask for their safe list, because when you rent a vehicle, they actually give you a list of trails you are and are not allowed to take their Jeeps on.
Because there's a difference.
And you're renting it. They don't know what your capabilities are. They, like, even if this vehicle is capable of doing Pritchett Canyon, they don't know if you are as a driver.
Yeah. And, like, so for a side-by-side, for instance, not a truck that was built or anything like that, just a side-by-side you go get from an all-terrain, right? Or a rental place. Those are made to go crawling and to go do all that stuff. But if you aren't able to do it because of your driving capabilities, you're going to break stuff.
Yeah.
I just watched somebody take a side-by-side through mud bogging in this big old mud hole. And what did he do? He just went right through it all crazy, and a freaking branch came right up through the motor.
Oof. Ouch.
And it just started smoking. And I mean, it's deep water.
Yeah.
It is deep water. It's up past the doors going inside the vehicle. And that guy's just sitting there like, oh my God. And why you wouldn't have just double checked before you went through that hole that there wasn't big branches and stuff like that are in that hole. Like, and if it's that deep.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's the thing. Like with water, my husband, even with 40-inch tires, has always been super cautious to like skirt around big puddles or like kind of just test the water, like kind of just like creep into it and see how deep it gets. Because if it gets much deeper than the center of the hub on those 40s, he's like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, because you just don't know what's in there.
Nope.
I myself, this has happened to me. I did this. So, it was in a mud hole, and that's what this is speaking from experience. Okay, I was in my buddy's Jeep. We were all out Jeeping, and here in town, just in one of the deserts, and there was this like giant mud hole that they had went through 4 or 5 times. And there was nothing in it. It was just water. I remember like watching them drive through and like it would clear a path and the water would go over and there I didn't see anything there.
Yeah.
The one time I went through it, I hit a rock so hard that it went up into the wheel well of the Jeep and I got stuck.
Yeah.
And I panicked. I don't know where the freaking rock came from. All I said was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. I just did what you told me to. And he's like, dude, none of us seen it. We went through it. Like, it's fine.
Right.
And I was like, it's not fine. And somehow we got that rock jammed out of there. And like, it was damaged in the wheel well. But like, his suspension was okay.
Yeah.
And that's where I was concerned. Because, oh God.
Well, and even so, like, I mean, like he said, you're out there having fun. Nobody saw it. Nobody caught it before you got there. And when we got back from Moab last spring, and I remember this very specifically because my poor Debbie, I've talked about in the past.
Debbie.
My husband was going to replace the CV axle on her truck.
Okay.
So she was dropping off her truck, and he had taken the Toyota out to the desert just to mess around. Well, he calls me, and he's like, hey, can you come get me so I can come get the trailer in the Suburban?
The call of shame.
I was like, okay, well, Debbie's going to be here in a few. As soon as I get the Chevy, I'll be out there. So I was sitting in the gravel waiting for her. As soon as she rolls up, I like roll down the window in the Tacoma and I'm like, hey, you want to go on an adventure? She's like, I ain't got nothing else going on.
That's so awesome.
So she hops in, we haul ass out there, grab him, and one of the links, so the front axle on the Toyota is a 3-link setup.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the links had broken off of the frame. And I mean, he was being dumb. He'll admit it. He was being dumb. So he broke one of the links off the frame. And like, maybe 10 years ago, you could leave your stuff out there and not worry too much about it. Like, nowadays, you don't leave anything up here. Otherwise, people are going to mess with it. People are going to break into it, whatever.
Burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
For some reason, they love to find those vehicles that have gotten stuck out there, and they will burn them to the ground.
Yeah, so we just hauled back here in the Tacoma, got the trailer hooked up. And I looked at her, I'm like, do you want me to give you a ride home? Like, he can take the Suburban and I can just take the Tacoma and take you home. And she's like, nah, I'm on for the ride now.
That's awesome. I already got a little bit of sneak peek because I'm getting the whole idea of what happened here.
So the three of us hop in the Suburban with Zoe. She's running around, being freaking Zoe. We get up there and she and I are like running up and down the hill trying to get him tools and stuff. We finally get like the link secure enough that he can back down the hill and like drive around to actually drive it on the trailer. We didn't have to winch it, which is freaking awesome.
Good. Because that's not fun.
No.
Especially if you have, I had it and then I forgot the little thing that it's a hook, just 2 like hook chains and you just sit there and jack it up. Easy up.
Come along.
I hate those things.
I believe the proper term for it is a hand winch. But,
I hate it.
Yeah, so we finally got that back home, and he was so mad. One of the most expensive parts that he put on that truck are the front shocks.
Oh, yeah.
He bent the front shocks, so he had to buy rebuild kits for him, which, like, the rebuild kits were, like, $300 for both sides, as opposed to, like, $1,200 for new shocks, so...
Oh, thank God.
Like, it was okay.
Did he keep one of the broken parts as a memento?
I think he welded everything back together. I don't think there really was anything to keep.
My spouse likes to keep pieces. I just found, so he got a brand new sled. And the first weekend that he went out, it was not his fault. They all broke their sleds that day. Because
that's what you do when you're
just
snowmobiling.
It happens. Sometimes you can't see the rocks and stuff. And he was really nervous. He didn't even want to tell me. And I was like, I don't care. You're okay. We can fix it. It's not a big deal. And it was just a control arm that snapped.
Yeah.
And it was just one of them.
What the heck is it with power sports and doing that? Because that's the other, like, that's what razors are known for, is the A-arm snap.
Yeah. And it's like, how is it that low of quality when you're made to off-road? You're made to do that stuff. Like, crazy racing and stuff. So anyways, he gets these really fancy, heavy-duty ones. He gets them installed. He goes out the next weekend, and he had a great time. Well, I was driving his truck, and he took my truck. And I just wanted him to be safer, and I trust my truck more than I trust the Ram.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a 22, my 23. He will protect us for life. So I had him take that one. Anyways, he has a cubby underneath the head unit, and I looked down and there's a paracord wrapped around a piece of the A-arm. And I just picked it up and stared at it for a minute, questioning. And I realized he likes to keep mementos like that. Especially when it's something that he bought brand new, that he's really excited about it. And he breaks it because it's like a reminder, like, yep, this happened one time.
Don't be that dumb.
Don't do this again. And I still crack up about it. It still makes me laugh.
I think we are over an hour, but
Well, we have some stuff to delete. Yeah. We got off topic a few times. But we will probably record more next weekend too, especially because you have Moab.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to try to get a couple of episodes in. If we don't, I'm sorry. Like, there's not going to be one probably during Easter Jeep. There probably won't be one if we don't have an extra one recorded next weekend. But
we're going to try.
So y'all have that in the back of your mind if there's not one on, like, the 17th or whatever date that is in the middle of April.
That is why. And also, October, around that time, we might miss one as well.
Or a few.
Yeah. I got a trip planned.
Yeah, we usually go to Moab sometime in October as well. So.
But we'll keep you guys up to date on that kind of stuff and make sure that we try to give you the heads up. What happened last weekend was 100%. I wasn't expecting it. I was really thinking I was going to be able to overcome what happened last weekend, but my stomach was messed up, brother. Yeah. I couldn't keep water down. So, and driving, I couldn't drive. So, I drive about an hour to get here. And let me tell you, it's a bumpy and wavy ride. So I can't when my stomach's messed up like that.
At least it's not as bad as it used to be, that road. Like,
oh, God.
I remember coming through there in my Renegade a couple of times, and I swear we were airborne.
Oh, there's spots where I'm sure that people still do. I actually watched I think it was a Lincoln Expedition, like one of those.
Oh, Navigator?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a Navigator. Lincoln Expedition, you know what I meant. And anyways,
same thing, different
the rear shocks were blown completely out. It almost didn't even look like it didn't have it. The whole ass end of that thing just whoop, whoop, whoop. And I mean, when it, like, I'm not being dramatic. It went up so high, I could see the top of the tires. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I don't want to be by you on the road. Like, what if, like, the rest of it just detaches? Seriously. It sucks. I hate Rams.
And on that note,
you guys have a wonderful day. We love you. Bye. See you next week.